Heroscape. Sails blew up, her tail went down. Oh no, where did our game go? Soon may the Heroscape come to give us dragons and drones. Maybe the game is done, or will zombies rise again? Heroscapers took up the mantle with their own minds, yes they could handle. Building C3D waves, we lit a candle, but hope was low. Soon may the Heroscape rise, yes AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. Then one day hitting like a laser, Avalon Hill produced a trailer. Annihilation was very clever, Joe Crazy's mind was blown too soon. May the Heroscape rise, yes AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. With renewed hope we join the Discord, for a new vision we would listen to Patrick, Chris and Greg, and concept art in tow. Soon may the Heroscape rise, yes AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. Now Heroscape is back again to play all day with our good friends. Valhalla is where we go now to face the battle of all time. Soon may the Heroscape rise, yes AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. Soon will the Heroscape rise, yes AOA was a great surprise. One day when the funding is done, we will take our dice and roll. We will take our dice and roll. We'll take our dice and roll.
Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time. And here, hold on a second. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome to the ToV Podcast, episode 46, The Road to Annihilation. Why is that title there? Well, because it just looked darn good, so I decided to post it. That's it tonight. Although there is a little reason why, and we'll get into that later. Hello, I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, and with me tonight we have some of the usual suspects here. We've got Josiah, aka Heroscaper. We got Jason, aka What are you, Jason? Rock Robotics, yeah. Oh my goodness. See, brain going. We have Joe Crazy, who
Same thing,
is,
Sven, for
of
the
course,
last 18 years.
yeah, Joe Crazy 3193, and we have Jeremy the SLM Cullet, and we have special guest with us tonight. I'm sorry. Oh,
Bird 25,
yeah,
aka Blake.
Bert 25, aka Blake. Yeah, I was gonna blur out a wrong name. There's my head. Welcome, Blake, to the podcast. If you want to, usually people first on can introduce themselves, talk about a little bit why they're here, give you a minute. So by all means, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm here to talk about an event that we have coming up on the western side of the United States. But I think I'll just talk a little bit about my Heroscape adventure. I've been playing for 10 months. I just started in the game. Didn't really know anything about it. Just happened to catch a friend that I played D&D with, and one time one of our guys didn't show up, so we decided to play Heroscape. And they weren't playing by any of the rules. They were just putting stuff out there and having fun, and it was kind of neat. But I tend to like jump into hobbies pretty heavy, and I was just leaving. I had my foot out the door of another one, and in 11 months I've got almost all the classic characters. I think 92% away. I was like 8% away. Excuse me,
Wow.
92%.
That's
And
committed.
I got about 60% of the VC. So
Wow.
I have
Oh,
about
wow. Nice.
Dude.
1,400 figures. 3 or 4 of every terrain set. So like I said, when I jump in
Let's
heavy,
go.
I jump in
Let's
heavy.
go.
Committed.
And
The
then
dose you took,
as
man,
re-
was potent.
That's
Yeah. And what's great is I have a 13-year-old son. So we play 3 or 4 nights a week, which is really nice. And then
Awesome.
we have a nice little group up here. I'm in Wyoming. And we have a group that started tournaments, so we're playing once a month. And then I usually about once every other month I go down to Utah and play in their tournaments, and I try to play quite a bit online. And then recently I just started kind of like an online Heroscape business selling 3D printing terrain and well, mostly just terrain, dice trays, things like that. So that's starting to pick up. I've probably had 30 orders or so in the last month and a half. So that's been kind of fun.
And you
Doing
have
a lot of 3D printing.
you have a Facebook page, right? Or is it Etsy?
I have a Facebook page and I have a Discord server for it both. Yeah.
Okay. Send me links after the show, and then I'll make sure to put them in the description
Oh,
as well,
sure.
so people can check that out as well. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm here to talk about Scape Summit. It's a convention we're doing in Utah. We're gonna be there May 30th through June 1st, and I don't know if we want to dive in that right now or want to go that later on. You let me know.
Just give me 1 minute, and we can actually talk about that right away. But first, before we do, just like I said, we're going to be talking about a little bit about Scape Summit tonight. We're going to get into some YouTube comments from the last, not just YouTube comments. I mean, there are a lot of comments from the last podcast, and appreciate every single one of them, even ones that disagreed. It's okay to disagree. I like all forms of conversation, all points of view, even those that disagree with me vehemently. It's all good. So appreciate all those. We're going to read some. And there was one comment in particular that we'll get to the end too, that someone said, you need to do a segment on this. So we're going to. And as well as we're going to be looking at some squads and heroes near the end as well. I'm going to try to finish the Bs of Classic Scape and see if we can get those. But that's what's going to be happening tonight. But first, yes, let's talk about this Scape Summit. And so go ahead and tell us a little bit about it. There is a link in the description below for the event on heroscape.org. If anybody wants to check it out and sign up for it on the YouTube page. But go ahead and give us some details on that.
Yeah, so we're just finalizing our schedule. Like I said, the dates are May 30th through June 1st. May 30th is a Thursday, so it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event. We really, first time doing a convention, so we wanted to keep it a little bit smaller than what ScapeCon and Hexacon have done in the past with 4 and 5 day events. We're going to try to keep the cost really low. So we looked at hotels, kind of like ScapeCon's model, but that was going to really bring the price of the actual convention up pretty hefty. So we were able to partner with one of the community centers in Salt Lake City, and they have a nice room that fits up to 80 people. We're not anticipating getting quite that many, but we'd love to get as many as that want to come. And we're right now just finalizing our schedule. So we'll have some kind of a combination of casual and competitive events. So some of the casual events will be things like Heat of the Battle, and I have some teams like 2v2 stuff, some Assassin, Dungeon Defenders, and then for competitive we'll do Pick Your Poison, Reverse the Whip, Quad Pods, and probably like a Bring 3 Ban 1 format. We're hoping to get schedule fully finalized in the next 2 weeks to get that out, just so you guys have an idea what that's going to look like. It is going to be a nice mix of, like I said, casual and competitive, and also classic Scape, and then the VC stuff as well. So we're excited to put on an event in the western side of the United States, and hopefully have more conventions happening, not just in one area but across the nation, and for Heroscape, and give people different timelines too. We're going to have ours right at the beginning of summer, which I think is going to be really conducive to some people's schedules. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing we've done a really nice job of, we have a nice team of convention organizers. So Dysel, Leafit, Scaper Dude, Rybots, Kobe Easter from San Diego, the San Diego Heroscape Club have all been helping with the planning of that. We've done a really good job of getting sponsors for our event. I'm just going to shout out a couple of our sponsors. We have Trexie 3D is going to print some Wave 9 and Aquila Alliance figures for us. Broly's Creation's going to do some of the AOA walls. All Things Heroscape donated $200 in gift cards, so we're going to have a $100, $50, and two $25 gift cards. High Ground Tiles is donating some printed stuff, and then one of their water mats. Stuff by Hags is donating some codes for his store, and then we got Elegoo, which is a 3D printing company. They are donating a resin printer for one of the prizes. And then we got Diespire, Jesse Pollard is going to donate some stuff as well. And then we're in the works with like 2 or 3 other people right now to try to kind of finalize our sponsors. So we have a really nice prize pool.
That's some nice packing.
Just a really nice,
Really impressive.
Really nice team to put together a nice event. And the nice thing about the Utah guys have been running monthlies for years. They just have a ton of experience. So I think we'll just have a really diverse event that's going to be fun, and just get to meet some new people. Is kind of our goal, and just spread Scape. That's kind of where we're at. We're trying to get more players, bring new people into the scene.
Yeah, it's great that you are able to, because I mean, here for some of us who are on the eastern side of the country, I mean, our big thing is ScapeCon, so it's nice to see that there's like almost like a ScapeCon level event happening on the western side. It almost makes me feel like I need to get a plane ticket probably, or just take a drive, we'd love to have you, any of you guys. I mean, I mean, I don't know about this year, but if you're doing it in the future, that would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah,
and I think in the next couple of weeks we'll have, after our event schedule is finalized and we get that out, we will have a list of Airbnbs that are within a 10-minute drive, a list of food, because we won't cater or anything, but we'll have lunch breaks and supper breaks, of course. And then we have 2 different hotels we're working with right now to try to get some kind of block, hotel block, so with some reduced rates. So I'm hoping by the middle of next month, we'll have that information out as well.
Okay. And are you going to be putting that information out on like Facebook, Heroscapers.com, or where would you plan to do that?
Yeah, so that'll come out through really all those places: Discord, Facebook, Heroscapers.com. We'll update it on the .org page as well. You'll be able to see at least the event schedule and all the events on there. Be able to sign up for that. So we're just gonna try to use every forum we can to get that word out, because I know not everyone uses every platform. For sure. What was your guys' inspiration to get this started? Did it start with one person? Was it a group of you? Yeah. Well, we just had kind of a conversation in Utah at one of our monthlies back in maybe November,
Mm-hmm.
October, somewhere in that vicinity, just about going to ScapeCon. A lot of us wanted to go. Some of us hadn't been. For me, my particular job, I that's like the worst time for me to get off. I work in a school, and we keep getting pushed back. So I'm back to school August 1st now, at this point. So it's really hard for me to take days off. And then on top of that, we wanted something that was just kind of like you guys have on the eastern side, something that for some people was just drivable. They could do a 2 hour or 6 hour drive and still have a really fun event. And just again, just spreading more conventions. I think the more we can do this and spread them out, and work together, um, the better chance we have of growing the game. And that's kind of my goal. Gosh, it was a long time ago, Joe. You and I played online, and it was before Age of Annihilations got reannounced, and we were kind of talking about how it fell apart. I wasn't even doing Heroscape when that campaign first happened, and I was telling him at that point, like the only way I could see Heroscape grow was through the online portion because there was not anything that was going to cause any momentum. And we really felt like with Renegade coming on board, good and bad, right? There could be good and bad about that. We felt like them coming on board gave us a chance to bring new players into the mix and have some momentum, so the game could flourish again, could really start growing, and that's kind of our goal. We want to make sure something's accessible for more people, that's on the western side, and just grow the number of conventions that are happening.
Sure, sure. No, it sounds fun, and yeah, keep on doing that because I have a feeling that these are the type of things that are just going to keep on expanding and expanding in the future. And Heroscape, I think, regardless of what happens, and this is another thing too. I mean, I know last podcast was such a serious podcast, but we really do need to focus on the positive too. That I think there's a momentous wave that's happening that nobody can really control. It's coming, and how we control that, how we maneuver that wave, is really up to us. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad. And just to anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this up, so I can turn this into like a nice little video.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Again, we just would love to see anyone that can make it. It works for your schedule, May 30th through June 1st. We're in Salt Lake City, and you can get me through Facebook or Discord. I'm Discord of Bert25. Facebook is just Blake Bertram.
Okay,
If you have questions or want to reach out, and then of course any of the posts about it, if you reach out, we'll help you out. If you need lodging or anything like that, we can help coordinate that with you as well.
Okay, well, thank you, Blake. And yeah, this is it, Scape Summit. Mark it in your calendars, and everybody just look for that information. Especially those, I know those that like out like near California or way out west, that this might be of great interest to y'all. So definitely check it out. And I'll definitely like whatever segmented video this is. I'll put new information if there's new links and stuff. I'll put in below on YouTube, definitely in the future. So thank you very much. All right, now let's get to the comments. The ToV comments. This is almost becoming a section of itself, basically, of this show. And to help my poor lungs and throat tonight, because I am not feeling 100%, we're going to have some of our crew read some of these comments from the last podcast. And I would have Joe start, but I do want to read one thing before Joe does start with the number one. First one I'm going to read is, and thank you, Rye Guy Plays Games, for saying this. Ryan, this is where I take the gloves off. I did say that. Ryan continues to be as polite as ever. And I just want to say that if this doesn't become a meme by the end of the year, I'm doing something wrong. Okay. Joe, go ahead and read the first one from Leaving Clee, I believe it is.
Yeah, Leaving Cleave, yes. He says, I agree with Joe. Not having an entire collection myself, I've gone up against armies. I had no clue what they do, that they can be deflating. That said, my experience, as with Joe, has been community members being super cool and open to borrowing armies. and also willing to point out some tips during an actual tournament game. Other consistent observation is folks asking if you're familiar with the army and do you want to take a minute to read the card. I believe the most community members understand to get others interested in the game and come back for more is to approach it with the above noted attitude. Which, yes, perfectly well said.
Yeah, and then next comment from this person. I have no idea who they are, but go ahead and read their comment anyway, Joe. It's almost the same
from
vein.
our pal Garanex. In general, I feel much the same way as Joe. Bingo. In that way, I prefer to play with my own collection at tournaments. The collecting is part of the fun for me, and I enjoy feeling like I unlocked a new army when I finally get enough squads of something. There is also the slightly higher level of stress due to worrying about the breaking or losing someone else's figure. That being said, there is a lot of borrowing that occurs at ScapeCon, and there's generally a thread on Heroscapers where people can request units. Proxying is also acceptable within reason, of course, such as Raylan for Rise of the Valkyrie. The two Raylans, probably just swapping back and forth. But yeah, really, once again, really well said.
Yeah, and again, it just reiterates what we had in the video that, I mean, anybody approaching tournaments, like for the first time, whatever, you couldn't find a more welcoming community. You really, really couldn't. We're competitive, but we're also very welcoming. So yeah, again, it just speaks.
My take on that is every time I've had a chance to play against a new unit, whether it's VC or Classic early on, and if I got beat by that unit pretty handily because of I didn't understand how it worked, it kind of motivated me to get that unit and try it out. So it really like helped me grow my collection, especially the VC stuff. The more I played online, I see a lot of the VC stuff and I see it, and then I get beat by it, and I'm like, oh, I got to get that.
It's like a black hole that just sucks you in. Yeah. And you're just like, oh God, where am I going to store this all? Yep. All right. And let's see here. Next comment would be, let's see here, Jeremy from Kront.
All right. It says, when Renegade says they will release AOA and the stats and the characters are all changed, then that's not releasing AOA. And when people get this thinking it will be Avalon Hill AOA, they will be pissed as it won't be what they expected based on what Renegade said they will deliver. If they are changing stats, they should be forward about it and let people know this on 3/1 or March 1st. I fear they will just show the pretty figures and no details. I'm gonna say no details. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I fear they will just show the pretty figures and no details. All right.
All right. Thank you, Kront.
I can understand this pretty easily.
I understand the concern.
This is probably why we have the discussions have been going on. The concerns have been said, is that we had, even though AOA didn't fund, right, we still had 30 cards released on the website. People have been playing with those cards already. We've already fielded them in a couple tournaments already. And we, for those that were able to go to ScapeCon, we saw Dorum? Dorum rose to the top in terms of AOA designs because he made the dwarves really effective, and they got the 4-0 for that setup. But yeah, so we already have a general idea of what Avalon Hill was trying to create. And if Renegade is changing that, right, it's definitely like we don't have information if that is the case. And so everyone's going to be showing up March 1st expecting Avalon Hill stuff. And Renegade, I definitely agree. If Renegade wants to change the designs, that is their, they have the IP right now. That is definitely their ability to do so. But they got to say something because everyone's already got half of the designs already in their minds, right? And then all the theories that we were able to build throughout the months that we didn't know anything was going to happen, right? Because you think about it, NGC, right? I still feel bad about the setup there with NGC. They had all these plans. They were ready to go. They're like, all right, we're going to fill the hole. And then it's coming back anyway.
Breaks. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like we were already planning on filling in the gaps that we were expecting and stuff in terms of the new designs that were created by the War Council. And then we're getting the hints that this might not be the case. Or they might not be using those designs. That's totally fine. Renegade's got to say something, though, because then it's going to confuse a lot of people. They're going to be like, what do you mean? Is it like the one on this? No, don't go on the website anymore. Don't use those stats either. Don't use those stats. You got to use these stats if you want to use it. it was just going to create a little bit of a confusion, I think, in the communication. And if they want to work with organized play, it's definitely important to set it in stone, be like, it is the Renegade version that we're using, that kind of stuff. So
Renegade revisions.
Renegade revision.
There's been a few like panic posts sometimes on Discord or Facebook.
And we just got to remember, they have the IP, they can do that, but they definitely should let us know. And I mean, we'll see what happens, right? I'm here for it. We'll see how it goes.
No, and thank you, Krant, for that comment and perspective. Okay, and next would be Josiah.
All right, so I have one from Kaimo Bruins. It says AOA was ready and play tested. Renegade had just one task: figuring out how to get the game painted and priced competitively. They should bring out old unpainted old units and painted new units so everybody is happy. A win-win business decision for everybody. There's also a lot of rebalancing potential to improve the status quo game and bring old underpowered units to the table. Just my 2 cents.
And thank you, Kim Bruns, for that. And you can tell Josiah why I had you read this comment.
I mean, okay, so yeah, I mean, everyone knows at this point I'm kind of the weird guy who didn't want Scape to be painted, but that's just I get why people wanted it painted. I'm not gonna, rain on your parade there, but I would love an unpainted option if it was 15-20% cheaper, and I could paint it, teach everyone else how to do it. That's just my opinion, but I'm more concerned about the quality of pre-painted. Is it going to match up? Right. I can't think of a pre-painted miniature game now. It's like, oh yeah, that looks great pre-painted. Scape paint jobs aren't the best, but they got a charm to them. They got a, they don't. You can always see the detail because of the heavy wash and just the colors they choose. So I'm definitely going to be talking a lot about the aesthetics of the game once it releases. Comparing.
Sure.
I'm going to see what the Morrow look like and all the characters, because that's what I'm going to be definitely keeping my eye out for. Because I'm not a competitive player yet, but I am a aestheticist.
If you're showing up to ScapeCon, you eventually will be. All right. And so thank you, Kim Bruns, for that comment. And then we have next comment, Jason. Go ahead.
All right, so
from Wayne.
From Wayne.
Yep.
Wayne.
Yep.
So the worst that could happen is that we get a bunch of great pre-painted AOA miniatures for which we need to print the original version 1.0 cards, as well as the sparkly water, affordable palm trees, and terrain tiles. I'm hoping for 21 space lava and snow tiles.
I agree. I totally, cool. Yeah, I totally agree. Yep. I mean, I hope they give good, better quality terrain for sure.
I mean, and I definitely feel like with that hint that they have with the terrain system they were hinting at, they're probably going to try to market terrain a lot more than previous editions of Heroscape. Because I mean, Heroscape is famous for its terrain, but we only had those like small sets, and then one was exclusive to Toys R Us, which made it even harder to get. And it's like it wasn't like a big thing so much as the idea of being able to just sell it as a separate product. That's going to be really cool in the game.
And here's a thought. Even if, like, say the miniatures and that side of the Heroscape gameplay, let's just say worst case scenario, it's terrible, okay, and community doesn't like it. The terrain system just might save their butts. It just might save their butts. If that's the case. Hopefully all of them is good. That's just speculation, but I mean that's an interesting side of it that we didn't really focus on last time, and it is an important point. The terrain system could do that. It could do that.
There's no way they can mess that up.
Yeah, I hope that's one of the few things they've confirmed is the terrain will be backwards compatible. They're working really hard to make sure the colors match as close as possible. So that's actually one of the few things of information we have is about terrain, and it's going to work with your old stuff. So at least freaking out aside, you can at least replace those tiles that are breaking at a rapid pace.
Yes, I want to replace my tiles that keep breaking.
Yeah, I think that's actually even more important than the game miniatures itself. For a lot of us,
right.
Be perfectly honest.
I think unless the figures are so unbalanced like the Marvel figures are, for example, I think of my collection, right? Like I have a ton of the classic, a ton of VC. Even though I have all that, and I've played in a year probably 400 or 500 games. I played a ton of games, guys, and there's still so many guys I have that I've never put on a board.
Right.
Because there's so many first of all, and then some of them just are not very good.
And they're not standing out.
And I can go back to wave 1 to wave 13. You can look at every figure, and in every wave, every master set, there are some figures that just aren't that good. And we might get a whole, depending how they revise that, we might get a whole master set of or waves of guys that just aren't that good. But to me, unless they're like way out there the way Marvel is, in the sense that they're so overpowered, there's not any compatibility, I don't have as big of a worry, because man, like I said, I got almost all the classic, and of all the classic, especially competitively, I can probably bring that down to like 30% of my collection that I use over and over again. And I'm trying to play the other ones. Like sometimes there's just no fit for them.
That's fair. Yeah,
It makes sense. Thank you, Wayne, for the comment. And then Jason, if you want to read, and this next comment that Jason's going to read, it comes off of Facebook, and AJ has liked and commented a few of my Facebook videos, so I just wanted to give him a quick shout out and just thank him for that that type of love there on Facebook. So Jason, if you want to go ahead and read it.
All right. On the opposite side, we have the best case scenario. Renegade is converting all the unique squads in AOA to commons to make them more tournament ready and make us buy more. That is an option we really didn't discuss last time,
Right.
with all the things of how we're going to integrate AOA into Classic Scape, and the whole idea of maybe we just make everything commons didn't come up at all, and that is actually a valid option.
Yeah, and if they honestly, if they did decide to make them commons, they would have to retool a lot of the abilities to make it.
This is true.
Because that would destroy the game if you because those were built to be uniques, right?
Yeah.
So to make them common, you already have to change things. So if they are changing what we already know about the powers, it would make sense if their entire intent was to get you to buy more. Because then, yeah, you can't buy more if it's uniques. You only buy the game rules itself. You only want one set of them, and then a couple that hold on to, give out to friends, whatever. But that's about
commons?
it. There's less incentive to buy uniques,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't want to face 4 squads of the Bears myself.
yeah,
That does not sound fun.
2 life bears,
Especially as is. Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, it's going
they
to
would
be
have
like
to definitely change some things if they wanted to make those commons.
it's reinventing the wheel to make a just as usable wheel, but it's different. Yeah, it's a lot of work if that's what they're doing. But I mean, honestly, if they did that, wouldn't we be buying it all up? Probably.
No one would be complaining if they've released a bunch of commons. I think.
Yeah,
think
no,
so?
No.
See, now I know you're supposed to buy more. So I can actually do it this time. I have the income for it. Oh man.
Yeah.
What a discovery. Every time I think about it.
I probably
didn't
buy
know
them
I
up.
was supposed to buy
as soon
more.
as I hear the word commons, I'd be like, okay, so I need 10.
5 per
10. That's what you tell me. Okay, so I'm broke the rest of my life. Yeah, these are willed to my son. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you, AJ, for the comment very much. And then next is Jeremy from Shinobi Mystic.
And this one's got a tag. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
But it says, thanks for the shout out. Yeah, the Magic the Gathering, Arena of the Planeswalkers Customs groups loves what you do. You guys are doing too. Come check us out too on the Arena of the Planeswalkers Boards Customs or Planeswalkers Reserves. Thanks again for posting.
And that's on Discord too. So yeah, it's a nice shout out from Shinobi on that community.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I did buy the Magic, Arena of the Planeswalkers because it was Heroscape related, and I've not once been able to touch any of those characters. So it's nice to know. It's nice to know there's a rule set out there at some point that I can incorporate those characters. I was able to I think I got Innistrad, and then I got the first one, and they're not. I mean, the boards are nice, right? The characters are nice. I was actually using Arena of the Planeswalkers characters as proxies for every Age of Annihilation characters, and I didn't even think about it because I'm like, wait, they're already on Heroscape bases. Like this was for the game technically, it just didn't have the same rules. So it makes a lot of sense to try to repurpose it for actual Heroscape. So I kind of want to dig see what if they got any, if it's all like integrated with Classic Scape, that would be a really interesting thing to play. Bring some planeswalkers onto your army and stuff like that. See how that works out.
There's definitely cards for all those.
Yeah,
that people
that's
have put
awesome
up.
though, for sure. Probably takes a lot of work to think about because you're working with the idea of a planeswalker, which if you know your Magic the Gathering lore, they're pretty potent people, and then you're putting them on the field as anything else, and you're like, oh man.
I'll tell you, the cards I have, the planeswalkers they're darn near Marvel level. They're not quite.
Yeah,
but
it's
there's
to
a
be
couple that are
expected.
pretty close.
Yeah, because they're very strong individuals in the Magic universe, so I could understand. You're like, you don't want to make them too weak, but then you don't want to make them too strong.
But no, I do appreciate the comment from that little niche of a community, and hey guys, keep on listening, because we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now we're about to get into the comment that will turn into a segment, but I do want to read another comment that's addressed to me that was just made a couple days ago from the transparency and trust video that I put out. So I do appreciate this one. So I'm just going to hop to it real quick. It says, it's from Anthony D. I can also believe this is Anthony's first comment ever on ToV. Ryan, thank you so much for your willingness to speak up about your concerns while at the same time giving Renegade the benefit of the doubt. I think our Lord Jesus would be pleased with your humility, honesty, and desire to hear what the Renegade folks have to say. And I do appreciate that, Anthony, so much. Thank you for those types of comments, because sometimes it's hard to speak up and it still stay balanced against something you don't know what type of feedback or blowback you're gonna get for saying anything. But I like to stand on things that I believe to be true, especially when it comes to ethics, and I'm not afraid to say it. No matter what the consequences are. But it does come from a place of being honest, and I just want everything to be above board as possible. Given the fact that, these are just rumors, we're not 100% sure. That's where I stand from. So I appreciate it so much, Anthony, and hope you can keep on commenting and supporting us in the future as well. So now let's get to the comment. This comes from Kimo Bruns as well. And so this will just end up becoming its own segment, Kimo, because this is what you're requesting. So this is what we're going to do. It says, please make a video on the 20-year-old, it's actually not 20 years old, it's like 10 plus years, but 20-year-old post on Heroscapers.com titled Heroscape 20-year anniversary reissue. This would be gold. And I'm going to actually probably put that in the title screen on this segment. How have expectations and opinions changed in the last 20 years? What are your thoughts? So what Kimo is referring to, and I'm going to bring this up, is something made, I think, just after Heroscape was discontinued. And I think this year it was 2011. And there is a link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. And it's basically discusses predictions of Heroscape 20-year anniversary back in 2011. And some of you guys, if you guys want to point out some things, we're just gonna have some fun with this. But I do want to point out the one that interested me the most, and it came from someone, I think, who got kicked out of Heroscapers, but I won't hold that against them, from Devil's Advocate. It says, Heroscape would be best reintroduced like a Peter Jackson movie and then release the game to coincide. Well, guess what? My inspiration for Tales of Valhalla, a good majority of it, came from the fact that one of my inspirations was Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, specifically the Fellowship of the Ring. And so I did pull a lot of inspiration for that for Tales of Valhalla. So you're welcome. That is, I'd say, about as close a prediction as you can get, considering the fact back in 2011 I wasn't even thinking of anything when it comes to stop motion animation of Heroscape. So you're welcome. Prediction meant as close as possible, and voila, after releasing ToV, Heroscape is coming back. Okay, so what are your guys' thoughts on this? Josiah, if you want to take a gander, what do you think is fun from this?
Let's see here. I do like how they mentioned the pirate set, so in a way that prediction I think has come true. And then reintroduce D&D. Not really, but they did introduce Magic the Gathering, so yeah. Kind of there. Same Wizard of the Coast brand. And you know what? I think 2026, I think Flag Bearers and Tundra combined master set could still happen. I think we're going to get a Flag Bearers 2.0, or maybe like Faction Bearers or something. I still foresee that happening. And yeah, I think that's probably the most accurate thing. It's just weird to kind of see the opinions of kind of this space, this empty space between once the game ended and the game's coming back. You know, it's kind of just weird. It's like a weird time capsule.
It is. Jason, what do you see on here that piques your interest?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a lot of people just talking about how they want the old stuff to come back, which kind of sounds familiar with when people are responding to Age of Annihilation right now.
They didn't know 3D printing was a thing yet.
Yeah.
That's true. There's a few mentions of like a new master set, but most people are like, we want Rise of the Valkyrie. And
again.
Then 2 years later, we want Swarm of the Morrow again. I like there's one guy down here who's changing the rules a little bit. He's talking about something about including a charging rules, and he has a lot more details about how he wants to see the whole product line redone for whatever reason.
Who is that? Is that
someone did put a lot of thought into this?
Robotech Master?
Robotech Master?
Yeah, I got it.
Robotech Master.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's a long explanation, but yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to like check this out, like I said, link in the description below if you want to check this whole page out for sure. Blake, I know like you're new on here, but do you see anything that stands out to you on this? That's fun.
I just think it's interesting, the timeline, the fact that they looked at it, 12, 13 years ago, and they damn near got the timeline perfect.
Yeah. The year is 2023.
Really interesting.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I think what I love to see, and I don't. It was kind of mentioned, just some new terrain, some different terrain, or some combination of terrain. I really like Robotech's idea of like combining jungle and road. That makes a ton of sense. Or tundra and lava. Just especially thinking about some of the maps we have. I'd love to see some combinations of that. I think that was really interesting.
For sure. Jeremy, what stands out to you?
I'm just the part that cracks me up the most, like, just like you ever just consider like passage of time and everything, like 10 years in the past they thought we were gonna have a hollow version of Heroscape. I'm like,
oh yeah, where's that at again?
So it was like, it's mentioned in the beginning, and then at the very end, Kolowski. So Kolakowski. I'm gonna say the name right because that name is actually really important for those that have been on the forums for a while. Kolakowski has made a lot of awesome posts, a lot of awesome blog entries, just a lot of really cool stuff that I've seen on their side of the Heroscape experience. So I always like reading their posts.
Hollow version of the game.
Yeah, they were talking about the hollow version of the game. Because there'd be a hollow version of a movie of the game, and I'm just like, man, you really thought the future we were gonna launch, we were gonna go up and do all sorts of cool. And I was like, trust me, nope, we are still actually using DVDs, by the way.
Yes,
we went to Blu-ray, but we were like a step up, just a little bit, but.
I mean, online we have online Scape, but that definitely isn't hollow version,
right? I just it's a really funny thought to me. But I mean, I think it's interesting that right now we do have the plan of the game coming back. We don't exactly know how yet, but that's what March 1st is for. But it'll be, I can see some of these opportunities. I don't know about. I mean, we've talked about it with the reprints and stuff like that, but yeah, if they're not able, I don't think they have any plans to reintroduce D&D or anything like that. But we do, the pirate set definitely. If they plan on using the AOA designs, we got pirates on the horizon, which
for sure.
That's the best part. That's I'm super excited to get a pirate army going. So definitely fulfill that aesthetic for myself. Let's see. I like the was it Rise of Valkyrie release alongside Marvel explained that the two games are compatible. I was like, it was going to take 10 years to do that. I was like, people have been playing Hulk with for everybody. Everyone's been trying to draft the Hulk in an army for a while now. And it's a fun thought, right? Like the game, it's not that they weren't ever supposed to be you can play them together. It's just not recommended because it's like the power levels are very vastly different between the two. But they even have, I still remember on the original website, can't remember exactly who wrote it, but they were talking about, hey, can you play Marvel with Heroscape? And someone wrote out the rules on how to play Hulk versus an entire squad of Romans or something like that. But then it was an entire Roman army and the Hulk still won. And it was a really funny article to read. I was like, wow, that would have been a funny game. It's literally just the Hulk plows through the entire Roman legion by himself. But yeah, no, it's a really interesting thread because if you look at the date alone, but we're March 4th, so we're actually they're going to be doing the announcement March 1st.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Right? So we're sitting about what is this about? I'm going to say about 13 something years in the past.
Sophomore in high school.
Crazy. It's just nuts.
Yeah, time is interesting.
And then Joe, just to wrap this segment up, and anything else that stands out to you?
Did anyone mention that in 2025 we're getting a World War III master introducing?
Yes.
Because I was gonna say, it kind of some of the most recent NGC units are very World War III, very futuristic units. Probably not the World War III from like a Modern Warfare 3 type of, or Black Ops,
right.
But sci-fi related, World War III. That's kind of cool. I'm sure you guys, talked, mentioned this, but it's just that the whole timeline of it all is so funny to me. I just love that. I just want to read that first thing. It's the year is 2023. Back in 2011, the year is 2023. We're in the future. The children who grew up playing Heroscape now control the media. Heroscape nostalgia is at a peak.
That's
original
funny.
issue Heroscape miniatures and terrain are hot on the antique circuit, and the rights to a blockbuster holo movie version of the game have been sold. Now you've been put in charge of bringing the game back to the masses. And it's just bro, you hit it on the spot. That's it right here. It's happening.
That's funny.
I consider myself a bit of a mogul,
Yeah. I think that's so great.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in 2011, and
It's crazy.
Hey,
You guys, youngins.
2011 grad.
Yeah,
Let's
youngins.
go.
So looking at this, and I wasn't even playing Heroscape then. I feel like I missed out on this age that.
There you go. That prediction come true. Kids, growing up.
Yeah.
And now,
Right.
the next generation of Heroscapers, basically.
I just now control the media, and you look at how YouTube is now and TikTok and.
Hey, we control the media for that small portion of the internet, so technically they're right.
Yeah.
Technically,
we are.
So thank you, all those viewers out there. You're helping us. We're contributing to the future.
Yeah. Thank you for helping us control the media.
You're helping fulfill this.
We're making the frauds.
15-year prediction. So thank you, appreciate you.
I guess I'll let that be that. So that's been taking a look at this segment of that very interesting thread on Heroscapers.com. Again, thank you, Kimo Bruns, for the suggestion. And by all means, anybody else have any suggestions for things in the future, let us know, and we are happy to tackle those things. All right, now it's wow, going at the timeline here, we are really good time on doing really good time tonight, which is awesome. So I think we'll be able to cover.
Ryan, can you pat yourself on the back real quick?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay, I needed that.
It's like, and it's like throat's terrible, but everything's going smoothly. That's lovely. And so getting
how it should be.
Yeah, how it should be.
This is how nice. This is when we plan things.
We're getting better.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's waste more time. Let's do it. Like, come on.
All right. So what we're gonna do next is squads and heroes, and I think we're gonna be able to wrap up the bees. And I think it's actually 3 heroes that we're gonna do. So first squad and hero then for tonight, and we haven't done these in a little while, so looking forward to getting on these. Let's see here. And first one will be the Book of Brave Arrow. And link description below for the books of Heroscape, where you're able to find out, all the miniatures, not just classic Scape, but you got your custom miniatures as well, all on Heroscapers.com. Wonderful wealth of information from these. So first one, we're looking at this a hero, Brave Arrow. Let's go through them real quick. Human, unique hero, tribesman, fearsome, medium 5. Of course, Aquila, Valkyrie General. Has 4 life, a move of 5 spaces, range of 1, attack of 4, defense of 3, 50 points. Not bad. And has few abilities here. Tracking. While moving, Brave Arrow may add 2 to his move number. If he does not, or if he can't, or if he does, he cannot attack this turn. So basically, just real movement boost at the beginning of the game, practically. Scout melee attack enhancement. All friendly scouts adjacent to Brave Arrow receive an additional attack die when an attacking figure adjacent to them. I'm sorry, I can't even read this writing. Yeah. Okay, let me reread that. All friendly scouts adjacent to Brave Arrow receive an additional attack die when attacking a figure adjacent to them. So a little bit of a boost. Concealment 10. This one, and this is the fun one. If Brave Arrow is targeted and receives 1 or more wounds from an attacking figure who is not adjacent, you must roll the 20-sided die. Count minimum number of spaces between the attacker and Brave Arrow. Add this number to your die roll. If you roll a 10 or higher, ignore any wounds Brave Arrow just received. And that makes him a fun mini. So, yeah. This is Brave Arrow in a nutshell. Obviously synergizes pretty good with Mohican River Tribe, but can also, when it comes to scout units, can do Vipers. Like for as far as like price, financially, kind of expensive to get. But the points, really 50 points, that's not bad for a unique hero. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Before my voice.
I love Brave Arrow.
Yeah.
I love Brave Arrow. The only problem I have with Brave Arrow is that he has no range options. Why they call him Brave Arrow if he just stabs people with his little dagger?
Right.
It should be Brave Knife.
But yeah.
Should
have a tomahawk
really,
throw.
Yeah, something to. Because why is he called Brave Arrow? But that's just a nitpick aside. I love this unit. He's really fun in Viper builds. He really just kind of, and just the Native American army itself is just a really fun, dynamic army. You can kind of see towards the end of kind of the Heroscape releases, they're really starting to innovate the rule set, kind of get some really interesting and conceptual powers out there. It's solid unit. I love him.
I know this.
Yeah, I think he. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was gonna say I think he pairs so well with the Teeth of Makwa. I don't know if you guys have used them. They're a VC unit, but they have hunting parties. So every time you take a turn with him, you get to move 6 of your Teeth of Makwa 3 spaces. So you can really get them down the field and get them positioned really well because of him. Especially like round 1 of a game, he's phenomenal for that.
I'll have to look at that VC unit.
That's where I use him a ton. Like him and 3 or 4 squads of Teeth of Makwa are really nice.
Just look at it real quick. All right, that's awesome. That's a VC unit right there. Interesting. Now, and I mean, we'll do like VC C3V segments in the future for sure. But are these miniatures, Teeth of Makwa, are they difficult to get, or are they kind of easy to get?
No, they're super easy to get, and they're cheap actually.
Very nice.
You can get them at most hobby stores, and I think you get a full squad for like $6.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
I
So,
see. Yeah, they're
very
from
nice.
Cinerama, which is
Yeah.
like
Cinerama, yeah.
Very generic.
Is the
So.
only problem with them.
They just came out with
Yeah.
a new version that's a better plastic
that's
because the
great.
original ones the pieces would break off their spears. The new ones that they just came out with is like a thicker plastic, and
That's great.
Okay.
they may warp eventually, but they don't break like the old ones did.
Very interesting. And Jeremy, did you have something to say about Brave Arrow?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention because kind of going off of what Heroscapers said about seeing the experimentation on the powers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This set is definitely handled more with the people we were familiar with as members of Heroscapers.com. This is, Wave 9. I don't know the exact time they jumped in terms of design, like the exact time frame, but the later sets, I want to say at least from Wave 8 or Wave 7 onwards, were directly contributed by like Truth, Grunge Bob, all those individuals that, those names that became commonplace to the Heroscapers forums. Like those individuals were then taken by Craig, invited them to play test and then give their contributions, and they were helping out with all sorts of like design elements and in between things. And so because they were selected, those individuals were then selected to create the characters that were part of the Dungeons and Dragons releases, right? So it's like the different people, they were already kind of contributing to these units, and a lot of the testing and stuff like that comes from their playing. And so you can kind of see more of that like community feedback coming into the picture. Whereas a lot of the earlier sets, were kind of it was just that internal dev team who were playtesting, getting stuff out there. Around this time frame is when we start seeing more community involvement, and like that's why I'm really excited for like if Renegade takes a little bit of just like checks out how the forum used to work in the past and like how those people were able to be brought in as playtesters and give their contributions. Like that's like a serious pool of inspiration, wisdom, and like and definitely like a lot of different playing methods, because that's awesome to think about. It's like, oh hey, we played this game 100 times, we know this part should definitely be fixed, and then the next set comes out, boom, it's fixed, and it's like the game can only get better from there.
Yeah.
And you already see it from these waves. You see from the early waves to the later waves with how the community feedback helped develop a better, the game design overall for Heroscape.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that come into play. Like if Renegade starts taking that information that we give them in terms of when we play the characters, we're like, hey, so we know this kind of power wasn't working as well as it could, and then they start adjusting that for future developments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's gonna be really cool to see, like just that back and forth. So I was just thinking about that. It's like this is when we start seeing a lot of the community feedback come into play, and it worked. It did
There's
some
some really
amazing.
good units that came out
Yeah.
of those waves.
Mm-hmm.
It went from like the Master Set 1, which had almost no interplay between
Right.
factions, or you
Exactly.
have Krav Maga and Agent Carr, but they don't really play nice together. They're just like
Right.
they just look the same, and whereas
The same
like,
themes, yeah.
and then you kind of go to more the basic bonding. You can take a turn with this guy, but like the Brave Arrows interplay with the Mohicans is just so dynamic, and it's always like a give and take, and you're always kind of like shooting from far, rushing in, and then it's just I love playing these guys.
You got to think about it too, but yeah, they
Yeah.
are quite fun to use and learn through them. I mean, you got to know what you're doing, because it's not such a simple of a bonding thing. Certain things need to happen in order for you to get the full extent of the synergy. But yeah, for sure. Now, Jeremy, when it comes to like character bio or lore, all it says is TBA, and I think it's been there for a while. Do we know anything about Brave Arrow within the Heroscape universe?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Completely blank. Unfortunate side effect of.
Okay, you could just make something up now if you want. Like it's
That's the thing. I that's fair. But see, as an archivist, right? I don't want to create false information, so I have to tell the truth and be like, yes, there is no bio for this character.
It's cool.
It has been written. That's the important part. This is why I'm saying this every time. It has been written. Truth did create all of Wave 9's narrative information, before it moved over to Wizards of the Coast, and then Wizards of the Coast took over that agreement. And according to all the NDA stuff, he wasn't given permission to release those bios back in 2010. So we're sitting at, it's 2024. I don't know if that NDA still applies. I don't know. Truth is now the CEO of Plaid Hat Games. I don't know if I don't even know how that works, if he could just release them. But if Renegade owns the IP of Heroscape, they would be directly responsible for initiating contact with him to figure out what was going on with those NDAs and then getting that released or deciding to release something new. We have nothing, so we don't know. But I do know he did mention a couple times throughout the forums that he did in fact have those written. So they are done. We just have never seen them. So fun little Heroscape lore there.
Renegade 20th birthday
Renegade-
present. Yeah,
Literally
Release all the information
the
on stuff we
lore.
don't know about. Yeah, exactly.
It would just be so cool to see that. Like, they don't even have to, like, if they just randomly decide to drop it one day, biggest and hey guys, we got the Wave 9 bios. I'd be like, what? Like, like that. I would buy instantly, right? Like, I'm sold already.
Oh, yeah.
But
They've done the
it's-
research.
It's such a good idea to kind of like pick up where we left off in the 20th year of Escape. That would be super cool. And Wave 9 bios would be a perfect bridge for that, at least for the lore guys. Like, we would be all over that. So
Like the dwarf, it haunts me to this day. People sort of guessed why the dwarves serve Aquila, but it's all just speculation.
yeah, we've all been making theories and guessing, and just we have no context whatsoever. They're cool. That's about it.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up on this miniature, because it's an amazing miniature, and for anybody out there who's just getting into Heroscape, because I mean this is what these segments are primarily for, just for someone to discover, okay, what are all the class Escape miniatures all about? Are they worth for me getting when it comes to like casual or tournament play? So now I know Brave Arrow is not cheap. But then I'm going to direct this question to Jason for a second. Jason, if you would be in tournaments and Heroscape tournaments, and you would say, I think Brave Arrow, might be a fun miniature to learn, but I mean the cost is a little bit much, and maybe I want to save. If you got your own 3D printer, I mean there are ways to 3D print them, and save a little bit that way, or get someone to 3D print and paint them. For a lower cost. I mean, how do you think would be a good approach? And especially like Brave Arrow, there's not as much as like other class Escape miniatures out there. What are your thoughts on that for people out there that like, okay, this looks good, but how do I get it?
Well, I got them up on eBay right here. Factory and shipping, approximately $35 is the going asking price for a number of auctions for him. And it looks to be the original miniature, not a 3D printed one. I mean, at that point, if you're competent with 3D printers, and you can probably crank out the supports for a resin model pretty quickly, then that might be the better option. You want to go down that route, and you have a whole bunch of paints already ready to go. If you've got a couple $100 of paint sitting around, then maybe that's your better option. But $35 is not bad if you don't have a resin printer, don't have a bunch of paints, and have no painting skills.
With Mohican River Tribe, though, Mohican River Tribes, that's an expensive spot.
That might be a different topic.
Yeah.
See, this is where we wish Mohicans were unique, because then you would only have to buy them once. But unfortunately, you're gonna have to buy a couple more for them to work.
Yes.
Let's see, Mohican River Tribe.
120 probably.
Yeah, they're
about $70 per squad right now.
Oh, really?
Maybe
still rough.
For 70.
Not as bad.
Okay, 70 to 90-ish.
Per
Okay,
squad.
so that's getting up there.
Yeah, there you go.
You just need 4 squads, and
4 squads is about a minimalist resin 3D printer. You still got to get a bunch of knowledge how to actually use the thing, but
I'll just say I just printed about 16 of them for $3. So
probably about right.
But I think Blake made a very good comment at the beginning with when it comes to synergy benefits of like C3V customs, and that might be a good approach. I know a lot of people, C3V might not be your cup of tea, but especially when it comes to like tournament or even casual play, once you dive into C3V, like I said, it's a black hole that you can't get out of. It just and you want to be there. It's just like, okay, I love being in this space. because I can make up these things and just it's just nerd heaven, really.
It just opens up so many new options and armies, and it, like before I said, I have all these figures I don't use very often. C3V has definitely brought some of those other classic figures made them viable because they synergize with just other things. So I think that, like, I think about like Quahan with the spiders, like there's just so many things like that really, I mean, the spiders are good and there's already some good bonding options, but he changed, or she, I guess I'm not sure what Quahan is. They really change things completely in how you use spiders. So I think that it's definitely worth looking into if you're really into the game. And the nice thing is everything that was done in the C3V community was done by the community, and they spent a ton of time putting it together. So
absolutely,
it's not just some guy in his basement saying, here's a card,
Absolutely. So that is taking a look at Brave Arrow for your consideration toward building your Heroscape armies. All right, so that is looking at Brave Arrow. Now, here, give me just 1 second to take a small drink because the voice. And I'm going to mute myself in a second so I can cough.
Yeah, I was looking up the Teeth of the Makwa on the Cinerama website. And if I wanted to get 4 squads of them, I'd be spending about $45 without any shipping. I don't know what the shipping is going to be, but I can get 4 squads for about $45. I'm talking about the Mohican River Tribe being 1 squad being like $60 or $70. I mean, hey,
have to look into them.
VC's next best thing there.
Yep.
You can buy some 3D printed versions of the Mohican Tribe here on eBay for about anywhere from $6 to $14 each, and they have a bunch of them available.
And there's a lot of 3D. I mean, we're surrounded by people who do 3D printing and stuff and doing sales for that. And I think it's only just gonna expand even further. I mean, the more the community grows. So yeah, definitely a lot of opportunity there. All right, now let us get into the next one in the Last of the Bees, Braxis. Who doesn't love Braxis, really?
My queen.
My queen. Exactly. She is the first queen here. So Braxis, let's go through her stats real quick. All right, Braxis. Vidar, of course, is the general. She is a dragon, unique hero, queen, wild, huge 13. 8 life, move of 6 spaces, range of 1, attack of 5, defense of 3, 210 points. Special abilities are Poisonous Acid Breath. Instead of attacking, you may choose up to 3 different small or medium figures within 4 clear sight spaces of Braxis. 1 at a time, roll a 20-sided die for each chosen figure. If a chosen figure is a squad figure and you roll an 8 or higher, destroy it. If the chosen figure is a hero figure and you roll a 17 or higher, destroy the chosen hero. And the flying ability, as everybody should already know. What do we think about her? I mean, there's a lot of people I know who love her. What are your thoughts? Joe Crazy, what are your thoughts on Braxis here?
Acid breath.
Yes.
Not being able to defend against it.
It's terrifying.
Yep. Ew.
It's terrifying.
I forgot who I played against. I think it was my buddy Glenn, or it could have been Jill. Who knows? They both beat me all the time. So I remember playing against it, and I just like, why? Why can't I block this? I mean, obviously because it's acid, right? That makes sense. I shouldn't be able to block against acid. Yep. You know, maybe there's a specific unit that should come into play to block acid a bit. I mean, if there's anything, that's what we need. We need more like, you know, kind of like the Pokemon way of play, where it's like, this attack won't affect me because I am electric. You know, like, you know, I'm a human. Bullets don't affect me, or you know, like I don't know, something silly like that. But yeah, no, Braxis is terrifying.
It's the best visual attack in Tales of Valhalla, I think, that I animated throughout the whole series. And I'll show a clip of it right here. Boom, there you go, and you see it.
Yeah,
yeah, it's nice. Lovely. Yeah,
it was planned.
Definitely planned. Yep. Well.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything else before we talk about lore? Synergies here. A second. Synergies. Green Scale Warriors, of course. What else do you need? You got Green Scale Warriors.
Yeah,
You
that
got
makes
Crypt Guardian a
Braxis
little
even
bit.
more deadly.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a fun little tidbit from my side of things. Braxis was one of the first characters I modded and painted. I turned into a Viper Queen. Right here, I have. So I like
Let's
took
take a
the
look.
wings
All
off.
right, okay, let's expand your window here. Let's take a look.
So this is one of the first things I ever did. So it's still pretty rough, but I keep it around because I'm sentimental that way. But that's kind of what was one of the things. I was like, I want a Viper Queen, but we don't have one, so I just modded an extra Braxis I had lying around. Also, I didn't have Braxis' wings for the first 10 years I played.
Yeah, my son has a Braxis currently, and he continues to ask, it's like, Wings gone, where's Wings? Like, unfortunately, he's 5 years old, and it's like he'll eventually he'll break, because he plays Heroscape quite physically. So I'm only giving him miniatures that are either already broken or ones that I don't mind him breaking. And so he loves his Braxis, but it is a wingless Braxis.
You go play with your Zelrig. You know.
Give him a few years, and then I'll give him some of my own collection to where he'll have some fun playing the actual game. But yeah, no, he likes it a lot. Yeah, what about tournaments for this guy? I mean, with green scales, I mean, it is an option. I know there are, like, you got your Zelrig, you got your Nilfheim that I've seen playing in tournaments. What are our thoughts for Braxis for tournaments?
He's good. She's good. She's just not super competitive at the high level stuff. Nilf is just a much better dragon
for sure
with the green scales, and I think just having 3 defense really.
Yes.
And then the fact that, I mean, she's really fun against, like, if you line up against someone like Joe Crazy's got just a bunch of drones or dividers, you're like, yeah, this is gonna go well. But if you line up with someone that either has someone with a lot of range, or someone that has a lot of large figures, or someone that's using a lot of heroes, it can get really, like, I played against her using Karak and a bunch of elements and just trashed her with, I surrounded her with like 4 fire elementals, and just the game was over very quickly. So sometimes she's worth her points, and other times it's like, geez, I don't know, that's a lot of points.
It is a lot of points.
What you're putting out.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's a bit of a glass cannon. Like, she can
100%.
decimate an army if you get her going, but you know, if you kind of encroach upon her, getting her turf, she's out. That 8 life does 3 defenses.
Or again, matchup dependent. Like, if you have her up against, like, the Varkanen, which again, another VC unit, you have the Grey Spears and Bahadur and stuff. I mean, she's just gonna get annihilated so fast because they're all large, so her acid breath does nothing against them. They can take her out in 3 rounds, and then you have 215 points or 210 points, whatever she is, of her army.
210. Yep.
Is gone really quick. So I rarely use her
for sure, and there's good reasons why. Looks like now, Jeremy, I don't know if you have her character bio pulled up, but if you'd like. If you could save my throat and read some of that lore, I'd appreciate it, sir.
I got you. So, fun fact, I actually, when I was pulling up all the tabs, I went to type in her name, and I didn't get the usual page. I got the Internet Archive version of the page from the original website. So I'm actually reading the bio from the original website.
Go ahead and do it.
But, no, I just thought it was funny because, like, when Google saves those, like, URLs or whatever, and then you type in something, and then it gives you a suggestion to fill it out. My computer thought I wanted to go back to the Internet Archive, so apparently I've been pulling that up a little bit too often.
Archivist.
Google was like, and that's the thing. I just like looking at the website, the OG, pull off some of the graphics from that because it's pretty cool. But yeah, let me go ahead and read that for you. It says, on Icaria, dragons are no rare thing. Yet even in a world filled with these majestic and mighty beasts, Braxis is a legend. From her powerful maw flows a river of Syrian acid. eating its way through even the most finely crafted armament. Her elongated body flies and twists through the air like a beautiful dancing black ribbon of death. Even her dragonkin both fear her and hate her. Few have survived an encounter with Braxis. The dead are fortunate, for the survivors wake from sleep screaming night after night, pursued by phantom yellow eyes. Yeah, very, very scary being. And I always thought it was interesting that they mentioned that both even the dragons fear her and hate her. So it's like she's in this like isolated state from everything. Even the dragons themselves are like, yeah, we don't mess with Braxis. We don't talk to Braxis. Braxis isn't our friend. But
I hope AOA Onward does some more Arcaria stuff. It's kind of also another underexplored. But you get the dragons, but like I want to know more about the get some people from there. I know VC has some, but I don't like the I like the powers. I don't like the design that much of the Niskra.
I'll plug in. I'll do a little plug, but back when I was in high school, this is a long time. It feels bad because it was like a long time ago. But one of my big things that I did on the forums was create a fan fiction about Icaria, because I was world building for it. I got really into the idea of hey, these dragons are technically their government. What happens when they disappear? And that's what I wrote about. It was like society collapsing as everyone starts disappearing because they're getting summoned. And it was a really, really cool project. I had a lot of ideas, posted a bunch of stuff about that. And I can tell you for sure, Renegade, there's a lot of material there. Like Renegade could write a really good story if they followed through with the roots that were placed, because we do have like you mentioned, the Nosker. That comes from Niflheim's bio, right? There's already a cult of dragon slayers out there. Like, easy start, right? You want to get into Icaria content, make some Nosker slayers, like bring those dragon slayers, and then now we have a new meta because now we got a character that does extra damage against dragons. So that would be really interesting. Mm-hmm. So, and then just start telling the story from that point. That would be really cool.
Get some Icarian servitors, that they just serve the dragon, love the dragons.
Yep.
Replace the crystals with them.
There's so many options. So many options. They even mentioned because they said the dragons are very common in Icaria. So like you don't even have to have the heroes, right? You could have like a dragon squad. You could have like mini dragons, pseudo dragons, like all sorts of stuff. It's like it's right there.
I would love to see a Noskar hero.
Yeah, right.
That would be dope.
Hero Dragon Slayer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see, when it comes to Braxis, again, synergies, like I said, Green Skill Warriors, basically.
Green skills,
and the good news when it comes to Braxis is, like when it comes to the financial cost, it really doesn't cost that much. Fairly easy to get, really. You can probably just pick her up on like a Goodwill auction or something usually, and just have her for your collection, just to try her out. Maybe not as competitive, like used for competitive as most, but still a fun one to have for like a casual player or ever. If and especially if you love dragons, if you want a dragon army, I think she's definitely a must just to have there. Visually,
stage presence alone.
Yes.
If you want to get some of the game, you put Braxis on the table. We're like, oh, what's that?
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Actually, when I was advertising for Age of Annihilation last year, I brought the huge figures as like advertising because I set them all up on the table at the game store I was working at, and then I had the poster for AOA and all that stuff. And yeah, Braxis was there pretty much all the time as one of my advertising figures to kind of get people. And it did its job. People would walk up and be like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Haha, I got you. All right, let's talk about Heroscape." But very, very, very. The design of the character is very, very awesome, very eye-catching.
And I hope that, like I said, Renegade has designs and stuff ready to go for whatever they're bringing out with Age of Annihilation, because that's going to be important. But with that, talking about Braxis, I guess we've said all we needed to say about Braxis. Again, classic character. She's a dragon. Hail to the queen. And definitely, so you can use this video for your consideration of possibly getting her in your Heroscape army. All right. Now, before we move on to the last one, because I said we're still making pretty good time, so we can do the last of the bees. But real quick, I don't know if anybody can go on Twitch I think I got a spammer on my comment section. If you want to just flag that person and have Twitch just shut them down, I appreciate it. Spam. It happens. All right, and so let us hop in, because we got about like 9 or 10 minutes before we kind of officially give our final thoughts and shut down. So let's get into this last one. This last in the B's of Squatter Hero, and it is a hero. We have Brunek. Love this guy.
Not an orc.
Not an orc. Comes from Utgar faction. A Trollticore. And someone's going to explain that to me in a minute, but unique hero. Mount. Ferocious, huge 8. 3 life, which is... That's a kind of a... But 3 life, move of 6 spaces, incredibly fast. Range of 1, attack 4, defense of 7, 110 points. Has the carry ability before moving Brunek, choose an unengaged friendly small or medium figure adjacent to Brunek. After you move Brunek, place the chosen figure adjacent to Brunek. Simple. Blood Hungry special attack. This is where this gets fun. Range 1, attack 4. If Brunek's Blood Hungry special attack destroys a figure, Brunek may attack again with his Blood Hungry special attack. Brunek may continue attacking with his Blood Hungry special attack until he does not destroy a figure. It also has lava resistance. Now, I played Brunek at ScapeCon last year, and they're obviously with 3 life. I mean, it has a defense of 7 dice, but if you whiff a roll, you'd be taken out pretty quickly. But I gave Mr. Chompy a headache. He beat me, but I gave him a headache with Brunek, because Brunek would not go down, and I'm like, thank you. I still lost, but fun.
We don't talk about Brunek.
Hey,
Here you go. There's your new shirt. We don't talk about Brunek.
That's a peak reference.
I'll get that shirt. I'll get that shirt. Yeah,
that is amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I got lots to think about on this character. But yeah, Josiah, what do you think?
This is so when I think about Heroscape, when I started playing when I was like 9 years old, this is the first character that comes to mind. This character is just so kind of unique in my brain. It's I'm very nostalgic toward it. That 7 defense will get you pretty far against a lot of common squads. He's really fun to work with, like Warnak, I think, is the orc flag bearer, so you can carry him and move. You can get kind of a combo going with him.
Warnak, yep.
I wish there was more lava resistant people to kind of take better advantage of his lava resistance, but it's still kind of, he's more of a transport across lava and instead of position in lava. Half the time I forget about his Blood Hungry special attack, honestly. I forget that he has it, because just carry and lava resistance alone are just pretty nice as is.
I did a combo with like Kurok's Firestorm, had Brunek and Ornek in the mix, so I could kind of like send both of them together, like Brunek carrying a fire elemental, and then Kurok taking a turn. You already have a fire elemental up there. It didn't work too well. It was just too much. It was just too much miniatures. You're better off with Firestorm, just Kurok and fire elementals. But I was giving it a try, and it was fun.
It's fun carrying Raylan around. It's just having your own personal Raylan transport is nice.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Any other thoughts? I know, Jason, I know this is one I think we had early on when we were playing Heroscape way back when. What are your thoughts on this guy?
I'm pretty sure my thoughts way back in the day, just as a non-tournament player, was that Blood Hungry special attack was broken, and I did not like it. I mean, granted, you can pretty much nullify to some extent by intelligently placing your miniature so that you can't really get more than one guy at a time, but it's one of those things where you read the card text, it's like, I don't like that. It's kind of shocking compared to what other characters can do.
Right.
It is.
I think if Blood Hungry would allow him to move after he did, like Himmel
Oh,
Skrull
that'd be
does.
so disgusting.
Yeah, because Himmel Skrull has a really similar ability, where if she kills something, she can move 3 spots and then kill again until she doesn't destroy. And to me, that's the difference. Like the fact that you're playing someone that's, especially competitively, that's good. I've never seen Brunak play just because like it's so easy to negate that ability. And because of the 3 lives, even though he has a ton of defense, it just takes that one shitty roll, and then you're there. Like you lost 110 points.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't play Brunak for tournament play again, but like I said, it was fun when I did. It was definitely a learning experience, with him, and you just never know. Sometimes they'll hold in there. They'll hold in there when you least expect it. So. Yeah. Yeah, and how about Jeremy? Let's say, okay, let's just look at synergies real quick. And synergies are just basically Ornak. There's like one, actually, synergy imposed for C3V, so not much to synergize with for him. But Jeremy, let's do lore, okay? Before my voice totally gives away here.
I get you. So go ahead and read the bio, and then kind of talk about all that stuff, because this is, I'll go ahead and start the lore talk by saying this is probably, for me, one of the peak design elements of Heroscape. Like, when you want to talk about something that's unique to the game, that is, not a pop culture reference, not a direct reference to a movie or something like that, which is, those are awesome. Don't get me wrong. We love our pop culture references. But you want to talk about a unique property to the game of Heroscape, Brunak is a very good example of that. And then I'm going to explain in a little bit.
And
let me go ahead and read the bio first.
Real quick, just a quick comment there on Twitch from Whammers, first time commenting. Thank you, Whammers, so much. Brunak is probably one of my favorite sculpts in Heroscape, and that's what Jeremy was just saying. Yeah, it's a really nice sculpt. But go ahead, Jeremy, go ahead.
I gotcha. So it says, the character bio says, this ferocious creature looks like a cross between a troll and a giant lion. Raised in the lava fields of Wolfland, Brunak is naturally resistant to the searing heat emitted by them. He is so strong that he can carry virtually any smaller ally into battle with him. Brunak attacks his foes with the large shimmering Valchian, making him a relentless adversary. His attacks are so merciless that he becomes hungry for the blood of his next opponent. This bloodlust drives him on until there is no one left but allies on the field of battle. Right. And so when I brought up the concept that this is like one of the original ideas of Heroscape, it's the idea that when they describe his character as a Trollticore, right, they created a new concept based on a traditional mythological concept. And the mythological concept is known as a manticore, right? Manticore is Persian mythology, crossed over to Greek mythology, right? That's where we get it from. And it was it was a creature that was supposed to be like a cross between a lion, a scorpion, a dragon, and a man. It was like all this mixed kind of stuff, right? And so it comes to find out this was this was old attempts to describe a tiger to the Greeks, but eventually, then when they realized, wait, that's not what it is at all. But the manticore became a pretty, I guess you could say, iconic element of Greek mythology. This lion beast with a man's face, with a scorpion tail. It was always seen in Dungeons and Dragons. It was always seen in these fictional storylines. I can't name them off the top of my head, but I know there's a couple fantasy stories out there that probably have some sort of manticore presence or anything like that. But what Heroscape did was change it up a notch, and that's one of the really cool things I like. When we're talking about planets, we talk about Icaria being a world of dragons. Phaland is the world of like folklore, stories, and mythological references, and they kind of use what we already know in the elves, and we know about the trolls. But then we got this. It's a Trollticore, which is, it's the concept of a manticore, but it's a cross between a troll and a giant lion. And they didn't really explain more than that. I mean, they could go anywhere from this, right? But the fact that they explain there's a place in Phaland that's basically known for being a volcano or some sort of like lava terrain style things, I was like, oh, hey, there's more reference to lava out there. That's not even the main planet. That's pretty cool, right? We don't hear anything else about these areas, but we do know that there's just this entire portion of Phaland we have no reference to in any of the other, because the other storylines that track, right, with the elves and the wolves and Cyprian and the Isoline family, all different stuff, right? Brunak is literally it's just kind of on his own. It's like, oh hey, yeah, guess what? I'm here. I'm from this lava place, and you're like, wait, huh? Like, can we get some more info? And then it's nothing, right? But this, in fact, also did inspire the design for the pirates. If anyone remembers that, the pirate. Oh, why is his name his name is escaping me. Cornelius. There you go. The blackguard. That pirate. The Demetar. Yeah. So you see how like it's like a Minotaur, but instead of a Minotaur, instead of a bull, they crossed it with a demon. I'm pretty sure they got that style of reference from Brunak specifically, because Brunak being the troll decor, which is the troll version of the Manticore. And yeah, but this is unique ideas to Heroscape, right? This is the kind of stuff that they're borrowing from mythology, they're borrowing from traditional elements of fantasy that we're all familiar with, and they're adding their own twist to it. And this makes it a unique Heroscape property, and that's why I've always enjoyed this character, because it's like when I want to think about something original to Heroscape, Brunak is one of the first ones that comes up to my mind.
Sure.
And really stands out in terms of design. You can tell the troll design. I actually have them right here. It's funny, you can see it. But the troll design.
Here, hold it up a second.
Very specific.
Here,
I got you.
There you go.
So you can see the troll design in his face.
Yeah.
He's got a Krug face, right?
Aesthetically,
he's got
it's a nice
the
design.
jaw, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows what that's in Heroscape. That's what trolls look like in Heroscape. They got that, but then they added the mount portion, right? They got the devil pointy tail and the really big sword. Just a seriously well done design, and one of the long standing ones too, because he came out in Orm's Return, so like it was the first large expansion set. So I want to say this character was around since 2005.
Yeah,
which is really crazy. But like, still, the design to this day still stands up to kind of show off what some of the really unique elements of Heroscape. And I think that's always cool. Like, Brunak stands as a great aesthetic example of the game to this day.
Right.
He's probably the most complex paint job out of all the figures. Like, if you were to recreate his paint job, you actually have to use like airbrushing and freehand to get like the veins.
Because
like,
the gray in the veins.
Yeah. Like, he's the hardest probably one to recreate. Everyone else is just kind of filling in like the colors, but you actually have to do blending and a lot of different things on him. Thankfully, he's the cheapest to buy.
The little veins and stuff. Yeah.
But he's probably the most intricately painted figure out of all the Scapes, in my opinion.
There's also a lot of variance in his paint. Like I have 3 of him, and they look completely different, which is kind of neat.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they, I mean, I'll say this is Brunak too. I mean, when it comes to like financial costs, fairly easy to get. Really, there's a bunch of them out there.
They printed a lot of Orm's Return.
And I mean, when it comes to just non-competitive gameplay, just for the fun of it, he's a ton of fun. He's a ton of fun to just be like, okay, let me see if I can take him on this squad and just be like, okay, is this squad gonna last a blood hungry? We'll see.
On lava maps, he's really, really fun to play.
Oh yeah,
like, yeah. Just there's like a mountain of lava in the middle.
Yeah, if you have lava in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anything else we want to talk about Brunak? Before we finish, I got classic Scape. And I think Jeremy gave a lot of good, detail. Detailing what Brunak is all about. Anything else before we finish this segment?
That's it for me. It's a very cool character.
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah, maybe not for competitive, but I think it is one of the coolest minis, aesthetically in the game. It's and it can be very fun to play. With the exception of just the 3 life, just kind of like, but. And not much synergies. It's still a lot of fun. So that is Brunak for your consideration to add to your Heroscape collection. All right, my goodness, my voice is going. Hey Justin, how are you doing tonight? Yeah, I know. Are we having football playoffs? I've been kind of looking at that. Yeah, there's been some interesting developments. I guess Detroit Lions are like. Well, hell is kind of freezing over, so I mean that it kind of makes sense, that And for reference, I've lived near Detroit for a good portion of my life way back when, so I kind of get the whole Lions the Lions support, even though I am a Green Bay Packer fan for life. So I'm with you, Justin. I'm sure your heart is broken, but we just gotta support who we can support now. But welcome to the stream. But we are about to wrap up, and really have nothing else to say other than give our final thoughts. So I'm going to direct final thoughts first. For those of you who don't know, everybody's just going to individually give their final thoughts on the episode, and then plug away on what they want to plug away with. And we will start first with Blake. Go ahead.
Oh, nice. No, I enjoyed just having some time with all you guys. It was interesting. I really enjoyed all the lore, and it was really cool to hear some of the, I guess, history of Heroscape. I think that's one thing this show does a really nice job of. For me, like, I always knew Wave 7 on, it just had a different vibe to it, but I didn't know why until just hearing you talk about that tonight. So, yeah, that, and I think just support all the people in our community that are making cool things right now and are trying to grow it. We have lots of people that are really trying to keep this community going, and that's one thing. Like I said, I came into this stepping out of another hobby, and this has been a really welcoming community. We have a lot of amazing people that just are here to help and play and get to know each other. So, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to have you on, sir. All right, and then again, links description below, and I will put stuff for Blake's store and such, if you want to check out some of the 3D printing stuff that he's creating to sell. I'll try to get that out there as soon as possible, sometime. And Jeremy, go ahead.
Alrighty, yeah, I'm just overall just really interested in looking forward. As the 20-year post you mentioned, right? We are now in the 20th anniversary of Heroscape. We have the potential of a very fascinating year, because I mean, the Heroscape community, we're going to play regardless. We're going to play with all the units we've designed over the years, right? The awesome VC units. We got NGC units that are getting released. We got some new stuff that they already are planning to announce this year, right? And on top of that, the potential of what Renegade has planned. So we got lots of stuff to look forward to this year in terms of things to test out and play with, against each other, play through tournaments and things like that. So 2024 is going to be really cool to look forward to in terms of releases and seeing how everything kind of like pulls together. I know, like, we went through the comments and we talked about it, and there is nervousness about how these designs are going to play out. But at this point, I think I've kind of gotten to the point where I want to just I'm feeling. For me, Renegade Scape's going to act like a type of, like, it's like another VC, if that makes sense. It's like another option to choose from, right? And it's like, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't. Then we just play with the ones that we like the most. But then if it does work out, yeah, go ahead and support the company, buy those units. And I don't think there will be any pressure to get it or not, depending on, when it launches, we're going to all have fun. We're going to check it out. A lot of people are going to try to give it a shot. And yeah, Renegade's got an opportunity, right? And they can definitely, from that point, from the new release, take that feedback, see how it goes, and we'll see what happens in the future of the game. But no, it's always going to be available. There's going to be different versions to play, and we always talk about the customs here for that reason, because we want people to know that Heroscape has never died, right? There's very many. It's spread out. It's like, the sacred timeline has been broken. We got all the branched timelines now. You check out a bunch of different stuff now. So, but really excited to see what this year has. In terms of Heroscape. That's my little final bit. And yeah, as far as my usual stuff, right? You can always check out my stuff on I go live when I can. I've been very busy in terms of, like, I got a couple writing projects I'm catching up on, so different assignments that I was given an opportunity to earn some money writing, which is always nice. So I'm taking care of that right now, which while I'm doing that, can't really go live, distractions and stuff. But eventually we'll be getting back to the live content. I do kind of want to plug in, for those that are interested, whole different franchise, of course, but Final Fantasy 14, right, just recently got an update in terms of its expansion. Going to be launching this summer. and I was invited to talk on Mog Talk, which is a podcast that's been around for really like much longer than I've been a member of the Final Fantasy community. Right? But they invited me last Friday to jump on the podcast and talk about some of the new lore, and that was a really really cool show. I was very nervous because there was a lot of people, and I was just like, I hope I don't mess up. And here's the thing, right? Because they were asking me my opinions on the new stuff. Everyone's already excited to come and prove me wrong when it drops later. And so I'm just ready for all the comment bombs. And I'm like, hey, you remember that one time you said this 6 months? I'm like, yes, I know I was wrong. I already said I was going to be wrong. Like, this is just a theory, right? But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, how far off I was in terms of like their stories and stuff like that. But it was a really cool opportunity. And if you are interested in kind of what other stuff I do, it's usually just lore narrative related for video games and things like that. But Heroscape is definitely a big part of it. So yeah, you can always catch my stuff, ESSALIM, on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And I yield my time.
Thank you, Jeremy. Go ahead, Joe.
I will be putting out a video next week. That is, I finally got a calendar. I've had a 2023 calendar from last year on the side here for like the longest time. This is how I mark down everything that I go happens throughout every week, every day, whatever. And I had ordered a calendar and it came in and I realized it's another 2023 calendar. So I had to return that one and then get a 2024 calendar. Both Venom themed, by the way, which is why I mistaken it for 2023, because I was like, oh, which one of these has the cooler images of Venom? And I was like, oh, this one, not realizing it was the 2023 one. So I got a 2024 calendar. So long story short, I've written down 3 videos already lock and loaded, and just have to be edited. So working on that. So I promise I am coming back to doing YouTube content. I'm still working on all of the process of trying to get things rolling, trying to figure out how to just market myself better. But yeah, I'm super, super stoked. It's going to be such an exciting year, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things planned. Yeah, 2024, it's going to be year of Heroscape. I'm going to ScapeCon 4, and I can't wait for that. I cannot wait to go to my next tournament, which is going to be in February 18th. The Mars group is hosting in Philly. So if you're on the East Coast, please come out to the Philly event. All the information's on the heroscape.org. Heroscape.org website. They're doing a Valentine's event. There's going to be a lot of special rules, which is really cool, because Massachusetts did a snowball event, which it was a control points with a bunch of special rules. So I'm really glad that these events are opening themselves up to like having like specialty rules, adding to the game, making things so much more complicated, but yet fun. You know, like it's not just like, let's make it hard to make it hard and, for your sake, to make you memorize more. It's more like, yeah, there's more to memorize, but it's like, it's lovers. You have to take unique heroes, and they have an ability, a special power that when they're on the field together, they have. But once one of them dies, then you lose that power, and the other one loses 2 wounds, and it's like, oh, it's got the schematics of Valentine's Day. And I'm like,
broken heart.
Cypher
I love
and,
that. Like
Sonya, couple goals right there.
That's exactly it. So I'm like kind of stoked for that event. So I was just kind of like planning that out of like, who am I taking? What's happening? Like that information was released today, because right now, from the past 2 events I've been to, both from College Park and Springfield, Mass, I'm on a losing streak of 10 games. So I'm hoping, my fingers crossed, that I bring an army that's apparently fast enough and has a range. So I keep getting either outranged or outsped in all of my events. So I need to find something
If
that
I-
can do both.
If I were to go,
Play Silver
I-
Surfer, and then you're great.
There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you. There you go.
If I were to go, I would probably take Estevar and Torin just for the thematic fun, of Valentine's Day.
Yes. Oh, I was thinking that. Runa and Taylor, if I can fit it into the. I think that could be it. That could be just that's the army.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
it.
That's
It would
her
have to be.
dad.
Oh, is it?
Wait, no, Runa's Akor's daughter. Never mind.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm like, you know what? It's all right. I'll make it work. I'm not here for. I mean, I'm here on the lore channel, but I'm not here for lore accuracy for gameplay. Like, we're gonna make things somewhat work. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You're good.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you, Ryan, for everything you guys do. We do here. Thank you, everybody. And don't forget, I am not crazy. I am Joe Crazy. I yield my time.
Thank you, Joe. And Justin, yes, Drake Alexander Raylan. We all were thinking it, but that was too obvious of an answer. Yes. Jason, go ahead.
All right. Well, I guess I'm still slightly confused on the Road to Annihilation title for this show at the moment, but
Because
Did I
everything we
miss
do
something?
is
The
taking
beginning.
us to March 1st. Everything we're doing
Okay.
right now is taking us to
Yeah.
March 1st.
We're on the pathway.
Yeah, we're on
so
the
I
It's almost like a
shouldn't interpret
series.
I shouldn't interpret Annihilation as an ominous thing where March 1st is the end of
It is-
destruction.
No.
It's a very hard word to use.
Okay, you're
It's
thinking
goodwill.
okay, just
It's
making
goodwill.
sure
I mean,
we're not thinking too much more than Age of
Well-
Annihilation, just thinking about this,
Yeah,
Not an ominous
the
prediction
word's
approach.
context itself doesn't apply to. The
We'll
situation. We're being.
We'll see.
Okay, well we'll see. So I guess the community will decide that on March 1st at like 5 minutes past the end of the presentation. So yeah, we'll know what's going on there. Okay, well that explains all of that stuff. So thank you guys for having me tonight. You can find my videos over on Rocker Robotics on YouTube. And this week coming up here, I decided to see how fast I could model up a 3D printable gaming miniature. And I decided to go ahead and make my own interpretation of that popular jellyfish UFO character that's been floating around the internet. So that is what I am going to be working on this week on my channel.
Here, hold on a second, Jason.
All right.
Bring it up. Show it up again. There you go. Because okay, there it is. Wow, look at that thing. Interesting.
That's dope.
Interesting.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you, Jason. All right, Josiah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just excited to always be here in company of fellow Scapers and fellow like-minded individuals. I'm just, despite all the stuff going on, I'm still pumped. We saw that people have been waiting decades for this to show up, so, don't have a bad mood until you have a reason to have a bad mood, is what I'm saying. And even then, maybe don't have one, just move on with that. I don't know, but I'm excited. It's always, I've just been really trying to incorporate myself into the community, put myself out there. I have my channel Heroscapers, so if you have questions on how to paint any of those things, you don't want to spend $200 for your squad of Mohicans, let me know. I'll paint one up and do a live stream on it. I do live streams painting, and I also just been working on some other videos, get some stuff out there. And I also got some NGC stuff on the pipeline that'll be coming out March. I'm excited about that as well. So the whole crew's been doing some cool stuff there. But yeah, just it's been a blast. It's going to keep on being blastier and blastier. I don't know the tense for that, but yeah, I yield my time. That's me.
All right, thank you, Josiah, as always, and thank you all again. Links in the description below for just press the buttons and support all these guys and everything they do. And Justin, yes, that Justin's asking there in the chat. Anyway, we can get a topic on Delta scoring in the future. I believe that is definitely possible. Probably, maybe the closer we get to ScapeCon or some of these tournaments during the summer. Yeah, we might talk about it or talk about it sooner. We'll find some time this year to talk about it for sure, because I think that is an important topic. Because I know there's a love-hate thing. I like them, but it just depends on what you're using them for. I think. But yes,
it changes the game a lot.
yeah. Yeah, definitely a good topic, and maybe one that we might want to have like some of the guys from Casters of Valhalla to talk about it, maybe a little bit.
The ones that do the
Yeah, it would be a good conversation to have with them. So for sure. But anyway, I am Ryan, Tales of Valhalla, and I'm losing my voice, so I'm not going to say too much. I do live streams usually every Sunday and every Wednesday. It comes to, I personally am a stop motion animator, so I do a lot of stop motion animations of the greatest game of all time, Heroscape, and I have hours and hours of content on the Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel. But I also do this podcast. I'm also learning to play the game. Not that I have never played the game before, but I am learning miniatures that I had never used before or haven't used that much. I stream that. I stream my animations. So depending on what, I don't know what I'm going to do this Wednesday, but I'm going to do something like that. I might play test things or something. We'll see. But right now, when it comes to my throat and stuff, I just go by this motto: winners play hurt. Doesn't matter what you're going through. Just keep at what you're doing. And that's to all of you out there. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. And we'll see you guys next time we do a TV podcast a few weeks from now. Later. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments and everything. Bye now. Bye.